Yeah, this is Laura from Minnesota Station. Okay. Oh no, okay. Oh, you're in that car. Let me borrow.
Because there's like nothing to go in this bed this high.
Do you, it's for
Because it'd be like so.
CSA pass? Sorry.
We're gonna do 2/3 of the bed of salary.
No, second C-section. Say that one.
Like if they could do a half of the bed.
We do for the CSA pass, right? Or just for personal?
For like farmers market.
Oh, okay.
And try it.
Oh, yeah, good. But in the spring, it's kind of not. If we got earlier, it's good. If we got late,
5%. What would you do with like an empty half?
maybe do they have the alley as a rental?
Yeah, they have.
Then cabbage or flowers?
Okay.
It's fine.
More one is, but I think the interpreter's parking,
Okay.
so we might start with, or should I wait?
I would wait.
I'll wait till they're ready. Okay. So I think I misinterpreted. Yeah, okay. So it's a lot, it's lower than it was last year, and so
I
we
looked
can
at
talk
the
about
paper
too,
with
the cost that you pay.
I saw Louis, and so I.
That was something that I really
At the
wanted to
slide,
and then I've been talking with
I did
my
not go in, I
about
scared
it,
to go in. So I think it's okay.
so we'll have to make up. Yeah, you did, right. So I'm sure that they'll be marketable and like we'll be able to make up the income, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it was higher in contract because of last year, so that's why it was probably confusing just the example from last year, but.
Too much.
Yeah, it's all. But great job on doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
And then take it out of the bottom and it's light down, I think a little bit better, but still some on top. I met him on the way halfway, but I did not talk to him, so. I hope he not stop because he drives like van. Big van.
Does it have good traction?
Hey, the stuff for tonight is over here. Okay.
The other thing they could do is put, they could just grow a few onions.
On the page.
Sure.
Probably want to, because it will be like on plastic, but the same kind of easily just.
I already did this, but
It does pretty well.
great. So that's what it's kind of looks like. Yeah, that's nice. Thank you. So we're gonna start looking at my interpreter.
Oh, I don't think that's
And you didn't have to hold it. I know they closed the one lane too, or was it just? Yeah, that's beautiful. It's delicious.
August, different open time. So that time, so sometimes, yeah.
Do you like give them new fertilizer?
I don't like.
You just do water.
But I do tomatoes, so I have the seeds before they are alive.
They don't get new soil every year.
But it's yeah. Mice. The house plant. But I just want to plant it and I use.
Right.
I don't know the name, but it smells really good. That one is as hot as my
Does he stop growing taller once they go outside?
No, they don't show. Yeah, you want to plant it, you can do that.
I like how my mom's in this.
What
I don't really know. I'm gonna do one of the cactuses in the office today. And then the plants are because Trisha keeps them. And I don't know, maybe like start sometimes.
Okay, we're gonna get started. Sorry for the delay. So I only have a few announcements. We're going to try to end class at 8 if we can. We don't have quite as much to go over as Molly and May covered on Monday, so hopefully we can end a little early. I know there was a lot. It's kind of a heavy-duty subject. So I was informed that we'll start off kind of in the part of the class where we left off last time, and then we'll move on to the new subject. So yeah, but beforehand, I have a couple of announcements. One, I just wanted to take a poll. So I'm just gonna ask you to raise your hand if you would like to do this. So there was a group of farmers that farm at an incubator farm similar to ours in Iowa. It's outside of Des Moines, Iowa. And they came to the Emerging Farmers Conference. So for people that were there, maybe you met some of those farmers. A lot of them are also immigrant farmers. And they have invited us, if we want, to try to go and visit them sometime between now and when things get really busy in the spring. So it would probably be a 3.5-hour drive to get to their farm, and we would probably want to spend the night, and we could figure out how to cover the cost for farmers if that's something people were interested in. But I just wanted to take a poll if that's anything that people would want to do. And it's okay if you don't. Raise your hand if you would like to.
I could do it if it's on a weekend.
Yeah, I think it would have to be a weekend.
We have not identified a date yet, right? We have not come up with a date.
I don't have a date, so I just wanted to see if people wanted to do that, and then I'll probably come back and find out what is a good date. So it sounds like people are interested, so thank you. My next question is, we have, I've gotten a couple of questions from people about what happens in this building. It's a food hub, the Good Acre Food Hub, and I've kind of said my version of the answer, which is they aggregate and sell produce for farmers in the area. And they also have cooking classes, and they also have a space in this commercial kitchen for small food businesses to make products and sell them. And so just because people had questions, I talked to them about maybe getting a tour of this facility and talking a little bit about what they do here. And it would probably have an emphasis on value-added products. So like, how do the people use this kitchen to make value-added products that they then sell? So we'd probably be able to talk to one of those makers, they call them. And then it would also probably be looking in their coolers and seeing like what products are local farmers keeping in those coolers, and how are they packed for wholesale or for other markets. And so I looked at dates, and it looks like Monday, March 11th is an open date, and I just was wondering who wants to do that. Should I do that class? Yes. Okay, so I'm going to add that to the schedule. All right. And there's a couple of other schedule announcements. Most people told me that they were interested in using an app, like a mobile app on your phone to try record keeping this year. And I have free subscriptions to an app, but I have a couple of dates where we're gonna teach people how to use the app, get it set up, and do like a training about record keeping on that app. And so I'm gonna send this out too, but just keep it on your calendars. On March 2nd, it's a Saturday, from 10:30 to 12:30, we're gonna have a class at the Arlington Hills Community Center and Library. So it's actually in East St. Paul, and I'll make sure to send out the address and directions and everything. But mark your calendars. If you can't make it, we'll try to record it so that you can still make it up. But that's gonna be a Saturday. And then the following Saturday is our first day in the greenhouse. So Saturday, March 9th. And that day, we're gonna actually start entering in our seating dates into that app. So that's gonna be the first time we'll probably enter a record into that app. So that's also combined with a safety, farm safety orientation, and a greenhouse orientation. We'll also start seeding onions for people who are growing onions in our greenhouse. So it'll be a fun day, and I just wanted to have your mind set on, we're gonna start shifting to Saturdays pretty soon too. So, and if that's a problem for people, we can talk. And another reminder to fill out, I have surveys in the back that Trisha passed out last week. The University of Minnesota Extension is doing a fruit and vegetable grower survey to try to figure out what do farmers want to know and how can the extension better work with you. So if you didn't fill one out, you can grab a copy in the back. If you did fill one out, I can collect them from you, or you can bring them back at the next class. And I just wanted to give Waku a chance to share. Would you mind sharing what you took away if you went to a conference recently?
Yes.
So,
Yeah,
if you
sure.
want-
I went to Madison last weekend to attend, not last weekend, on February 1st and February 2nd to attend the Organic Vegetable Production Conference. So what I learned from attending this conference is about greenhouse, what kind of greenhouse and who are the supplier, and also learns about peppers and onions. And also they share, they do a survey for among many farmers, and they send out some survey. They compile crop value about what are some top or good value that suitable for our better nutrition. So I will give this to Lovar to make one copy or scan and upload into our classroom website. So, and that will be shared with you. And also learns about how to be successful as a farmer, because you don't have to focus on so many things, only a certain thing that you can manage. And one speaker, when he started, he doing productions, also have chickens and pig, and he can manage it, and later on he found a mentor, and he eliminated and don't raise any chicken and only focus on production, and right now he's very successful. Just think about doing more to what you can and don't do too much. But that's why, thank you.
yeah, so,
Waku, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Did they give out handouts during the peppers and the onions?
I do have that too.
Would you be willing to share those
Yeah,
as well?
sure. I
Wonderful.
have that. I have greenhouse. I have the labor to hire people in what, how much per hour for certain labels. So I do have that one too.
Thank you very
I
much.
will share that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
and my one last announcement that I just thought of, since I know our interpreter had some problems too finding parking tonight. There is a back lot, so if you can't find a spot to park in this front lot right next to the building, just follow the driveway back towards the greenhouses. There's a whole other parking lot back there that you're welcome to park in. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to May and Molly.
We are going to start with the plot map. Did anyone do the homework? You did?
I feel like I must have written some stuff down wrong.
will you come up and explain how you did it?
Yeah.
And what I'm gonna do is write down the crops on sticky notes, but I forgot to do that before class, so I'm gonna do it right now. And you, when I give them to you, you can put them on the map about where you put stuff. Okay.
What's the time for that?
So that's kind of what I did too. Great. Good. Okay. Obviously how we don't actually need the dates because they have the names of the activities. We meant 2/3. Okay. So then I. Maybe we would use that. Not in this first plant. You also could do it just how you have it. I'm gonna pull up figure out how to do this. I'm trying to help him. There we go. So this is the plan that we had come up with in class on Monday. Oh, this is weird. Do you want the celery split into two? Well, I wasn't sure how to fit it in. I feel like I messed it. So I'm gonna do two. Yeah. At the same time? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Okay, can you explain how you got your map? So I started with the dates that we came up with, the goal planting date, and worked left to right. But I also tried to line up the rows per bed so that, and that's where I kind of had an issue with the cilantro and green onions. We had three rows per bed, but the celery only has 2, so I didn't know if that was going to be a problem with weeding or whatnot. Yeah, so that's how I started. What do people think of this plan? Did anyone else do the homework? Is that similar to what you came up with? What's
with regard to that issue of the different number of rows per bed, we instead of putting celery there, we put celery elsewhere in a different bed.
Do you want to organize it how you had it? The other issue is that for leaks, which we can't see up here, which is just gonna be there no matter what. I was just talking to May earlier though, and we're like, oh, they could like grow more of something else or grow some onions in that bed if you were interested in doing that. So we'll have to come up with something.
13 beds, right?
Yes.
I came up with one short when I did my thing here.
You were short.
One. I had one whole thing raw short.
What did you have?
Well, so I didn't have access to this information.
Okay.
But I just kind of went off what I had on my note. So I started with the broccoli. So I had the 2 broccolis because there was supposed to be 2 beds of
Okay.
broccoli, and then I had the cabbage, again 2 of those.
Okay.
Basically 2 rows, right? And then I had the cilantro, which is the 1/3, and I combine that with and GN is green onions.
With cilantro with green
Green
onions.
onions on 1 roll, so like 2/3, right? Of a bed.
Okay. Okay.
And then from that I went, J is, I have initials on these things here. Jalapenos, or whatever is that what it's called? On a whole row. And then tomatillos on a
Okay.
whole row. And then I had, CL is,
That'd be cauliflower.
yeah. So I had cauliflower 2 rolls.
Okay.
And then we had watermelon somewhere. What was that?
Oh, you're actually that's
Watermelon.
going someplace else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then I have 2 rolls that are empty.
Okay.
And leek, whatever it's called, the leeks.
Leeks?
That. What did I do with that? Did I put that on? Must have missed that. It's 1/3, right? I don't think I put anywhere leaks yet. I
Okay.
missed that one. What am I missing there?
So you're missing the so you're missing celery.
Okay, yep, celery isn't that 2/3
Yep.
bed?
Yep.
So that went on to 1 bed.
And then another planting of green onions and
Yep.
cilantro. So one thing that's really great about this plan is that it has similar crops, it has the same crops together.
Yeah.
And that's always something really great to strive for
Yep.
when you're making a plan. And one thing that's challenging about this is that if you look, we have different plantings of broccoli and
Seasons.
cabbage.
Yep.
And so one planting is if you look up on our spreadsheet, one planting is in the beginning of May and the next planting is in July.
July, okay.
Which means that you'd have this empty
Space.
And do you know what's going to happen in that empty space?
Weeds will grow.
Yeah, you're going to get so many weeds. So what I recommend doing is, to the extent that you're able to,
Yeah.
keep the same plants together. So keep broccoli with broccoli and cabbage with cabbage, but you want it to really focus on organizing by date.
Okay.
Because otherwise, the weeds are going to become so much of a problem that it's going to be a mess. Will you
Okay.
show us what you did?
Give it a shot.
Thank you for sharing
yeah,
that.
I'm good. Yeah. I put that like 20 minutes last minute.
Yeah, we do too.
Here. I'll,
Yeah.
do you want me to
That
hear
was a
repository of
I
Post-its?
realized I needed to
Okay.
do this.
Great.
So in the first one, we split the cauliflowers up. So I put cauli number 1, and then another cauli over here. So is there 4 beds?
There's 4 beds
so
of
we
cauliflower.
misunderstood that.
Oh, okay.
So we had these 2 empty.
Okay.
Anyway, we separated them because we just thought if there were problems with black rod, maybe if we lost one or some of one, then another would be okay.
Paige, can we
I'll listen to what's going on here. Thank you.
Is there any, is there good sense to that rationale or no?
I think there is sense to that rationale that you would split things up, perhaps because you would be worried about disease spreading.
Especially since that's our contracted.
Yes.
So then we, let's see, we did tomatillos, jalapenos, and then we did the thirds. So cilantro in 1/3, green onion in 1/3, and leeks in this third.
Okay.
And then the next row, same thing.
Okay.
So the second planting of cilantro, second planting green onions.
And then you had more leeks.
Yeah, because it's 2/3 of
It's
leeks.
1/2 of leeks, but you
Oh,
changed
okay,
it
right.
to 2/3, which is not that different.
Right. And we did that because there are 3 rows per bed for all these crops.
Yeah.
And then we did the celery, which is supposed to be 2/3, right?
Yeah.
We did that in the next one, have this third just empty.
Great.
And then we did broccoli 1, cabbage 1, broccoli 2, cabbage 2. Keeping in mind the same planting date
Uh-huh.
and the same planting date for those. And these two,
Our
we might have done
surprise.
it differently if we
Yes.
had known about these. But
About the surprise second cauliflower planting.
tomatillo, right here.
Oh, okay.
The other thing that we were thinking is that cilantro doesn't like full sun, is that right?
It does just fine in full
Does
sun.
it? Okay.
Yeah,
So
it does like full
that
sun.
doesn't matter.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Can we give a round of applause to everyone who shared their block plans? Thank you, everyone, and Jesse and Dan. Yes.
And my recommendation for you guys is celery and leeks. You gonna harvest in the fall. You have a plant, but only one planting, okay, not 2. And so you just plant one time and you harvest it late, and so you can do celery and leek together. It'll be fine. Whatever you like to do, but just recommendation.
Because they harvest the same.
Yeah, one bag for those 2 will be fine. And yeah, whenever you like to do, just that and come in the same way.
I apologize if you covered this on Monday when I wasn't here, but when I was asking my partners or parents, are we less concerned about plant families when we're deciding what goes into our plot, or more about what starts earliest to like more succession, like as far as timing wise?
I think, so what we haven't done yet is look at the history of what is in this field.
Okay.
And so we will need to do that before we actually like firm up a field plan.
Okay.
And make sure that we're following a good crop rotation. But I always like to try to plan things as much as possible in a date order so that you can keep your field as clean as possible that you're planting into.
Okay. Because that would be one of my biggest struggles. Is I was like, oh my gosh, should I keep the families all separate or
Right.
together?
And the thing that's really tricky
Yeah.
is on a plot, like, there's a bunch of different plant families in this plot, and everyone who's grown in this land has grown a bunch of different plant families. And so you're not like a big farm where you know that an entire field was like one plant family, and then this other field was another plant family, where you're really gonna have to like move things like around in small ways. So it just is like a struggle of, honestly, of being on this farm, is that every family is everywhere all the time. But once we come up with like a good plan,
Okay.
or a good plot map, then we can check it with the,
What you did last
yeah,
year.
which would maybe be a good thing to do next Wednesday, is we could look at the plot map and the stuff together. Yeah.
About May's suggestion of having the leeks and the celery
together in the same row?
Yeah.
Is that right?
Same bed.
Same bed, sorry, same bed. We had talked about having half week and 2/3 celery, which doesn't add up to one bed. So would we just say half week and the rest celery, or put celery a little bit more somewhere else?
It depends on, what would you say to that, May?
Yeah, depend on the history of the land. Yeah.
And what we're actually contracted for would be the priority. So the leak, we
And
want to make
like-
sure we have enough.
Yeah, and like what you want more of too. Like if you, when we did the leaks, it was, you're planting a fair amount more than you need for your contract. So I believe, I actually can't remember. That might have been something else. Cauliflower, I don't remember. But so to like make sure that you have enough for your contract, and then anything beyond that you can adjust. And I mean, a half of a bed that's empty is a real hassle.
Okay.
And I would be tempted, I think, to try to combine the leeks and the celery into one bed so that I didn't have
Sure.
an empty space that I was worried about using. So we don't have like a set plot plan yet. What do people feel about wanting to get like a set plot plan right now? Or do you want to, or like what ways of organizing made most sense to people?
Both data planting and data farms, right?
Yeah. What?
Bueno, bueno, una de las cosas que podríamos tomar en cuenta igual, yo creo que, bueno, es las fechas, rotación y ayer usted platicaba.
So one of the things we could take into account, I believe, would be dates and rotation, and one of the things we spoke about.
Ayer platicaba usted de que de contrato se iba a tener el cultivo coliflor.
And I believe yesterday you spoke about the contract was about cauliflower.
Un cultivo principal.
It was,
Por ejemplo, si tenemos un cultivo principal, yo creo que debería ir en la parte de medio de la parcela.
so I believe that if we have a main crop, it should be placed in the middle of the plot.
Para que lo que son insectos o enfermedades, aire, lo que hay alrededor podría proteger un poquito más.
So that way, whatever's around the insects there, the illnesses can be better protected against.
Y por ejemplo, en ese ejemplo, el brócoli, lo que mencionaba la compañera, es de la misma familia que la coliflor, entonces un problema que tienen es la pudrición negra que
Yeah,
mencionaba.
the black rat.
Entonces, para aumentar la productividad,
That's too low. Es demasiado la cosa. I mean, to be able to simultaneous also.
el ejemplo que puso el compañero y la compañera que
So one of the examples that my fellow students,
son de la misma familia, el brócoli y la coliflor,
broccoli and cauliflower from the same family,
para evitar una de las principales enfermedades que mencioné ayer, podría ser una opción no poner la misma familia con el coliflor, ya que es uno de los cultivos principales.
so it would be a good idea for the purpose of avoiding illnesses to not have the crops be from the same family.
Y sí sería interesante tomar en cuenta todo, desde la fecha de siembra, fecha de cosecha, el arreglo de paisaje.
And it would be important to account for everything, the dates of
Y eso.
planting, the dates of,
Y las rotaciones, que ustedes se tienen
and also the rotation
para elaborar ese plan.
in order to develop that plan.
So you're saying that we should pay attention to, you think it would be good to put the most important crops in the middle so that they're more protected from what's around them, and to also make your plan in a way that takes into account the harvest date, this planting date, and crop rotation. Yeah, that sounds awesome. Let's do it. I think that in terms of putting broccoli and cauliflower and cabbage next to each other, that the amount of, I think it would be interesting to try to put something in between them to separate the cauliflower from the, what are the other two? Broccoli and cabbage?
Broccoli.
Yeah, the broccoli and the cabbage. I think that that would be interesting to see if that was effective. I haven't ever tried that. I mean, it's all in a very small area, but I think that that would be interesting to try.
So I'm sure soil plays a huge role in plant growth. Do we need to worry about that, or is that sort of covered? You guys kind of know what the land is, how well it is, fertility-wise, treatments-wise. I know we're organic, we're not doing much, but I'm sure that plays a huge role in terms of insects coming in, and plant longevity, and I guess the fruitfulness of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I don't know anything about the land, so
Yeah.
I'm curious.
May, what would you say to that?
We gonna. That's why we have a plot and plan, because we have the history. We have maybe we have broccoli in there, and that's why sometimes you do it, but this just practice. But when you get to the field, gonna be different from when you're drawing over there. It's not that hard, and so we look for the history. Then we can move around. Yeah, whenever you just make like half bed for leeks and the other half all the time, then we can do that on the field. When you hang on, it's different from when you do. And the history of the land would be good.
So is it are the recommendation given to us, or what we're picking in relation to the land itself? Is that, do we know that this is a good fit for the land?
I would say that, first of all, like in terms of the diseases and pests, those tend to follow the same family. So like this black rot in the brassica family, like the cabbage and the cauliflower, lives in the soil. So it's one of those reasons that you like pay a lot of attention to crop rotation. We have not paid any attention to that with this. So this is like the ideal plan. And then what we'll do is, so that you know how to come up with like maybe an ideal plan.
Okay.
And then what we'll do is we'll unearth what was there before. And so we can try to arrange, we can like put a map up also of like what the last few years have been and see what maybe needs to change so that you're not planting the same family in the same spot.
Okay.
And honestly, as we're like standing here thinking about this, I'm remembering that last year this field had a lot of brassicas in it. And so I'm even thinking of like, okay, well maybe it would be a better idea to move your plot to the other side of the same field that had a lot more like onions in it, which is, you have very few onions and very many brassicas. So I think that it's really, I mean, it is very important to pay attention to the crop rotation, and this is not doing that right now. But the end picture that we come up with will take that into account.
Well, it's good exercise.
It is a good exercise. Plus sticky notes are fun to like move around. Why don't we come back to this next week, and we can next week, will you work on this for next week as well, to, now that we've discussed like different ways to arrange it, to try to come up with an arrangement that is like primarily date focused, and then combines the celery and the leeks into one bed.
Are people okay doing that? Great. And next week I will have for you the field history of what was there in years past. And so then we can come up with a final plot map. Cool.
That's good.
Thank you everyone for working on that. Laura, I believe you're going to need to.
Yes.
Find
What do you want?
How about the pictures?
Or do you want to introduce first the greenhouse plan?
Sure.
I can control this.
Okay, now we're gonna learn about greenhouse plan, and so they look similar to what we just did, but it's different. Okay, this is the greenhouse plan. When you have it on the sheet on your handout, you look for this area gonna be field plan or greenhouse plan. Then you look for the greenhouse plan. And so that's how we're gonna do tonight. And so I know the weather is really not so good, but you are here, and so I'm glad to have you here. And so find which flat, and we're gonna do we're gonna show you how to use the flat and the right side, and when and where do we gonna begin. And so this is it. Why important to use the right side, and why important to know, because we have different side, and so I'm going to show you what side it is for what and when you use it. Yeah, and I have the sample over here, and I'm going to tell you a little bit. We have side of the repotting and the starter seed, and you're gonna do the day. We usually do the day on your seeding, and you're gonna repot, and we put the seeding day, because seeding is the day you put the day when you seed your thing into the open flat, and we're gonna repotting, and some is not, but some you need to repot, and you need to put the crop and variety. That is really important, because when you put on the field, then you don't have those, and you don't know which is which, and so many flats, and you're gonna confuse. Onion look the same, and so that's why we need to have those. And the side of the tray, and the side of the tray, and tray of side is different. Okay, tray of side and side of the tray is different. Okay, and so that's what we're gonna talk about tonight. And so when we do it, we're gonna do the day, the actual day. This is really this one, because we don't want to put that. Okay, today I plant here, and next week or 2 weeks later we're gonna repot it, and that's why we put the day they do that day. Not, but some seed you put like 70, 72 like this one. Depend, you need to keep the your crop in there, or you're gonna repot. And so then you're seeding, example like broccoli, we're not repotting. Then you put in here, then you write the day that you're seeding and the day you're done the same day. Maybe some crop is the same day. Yeah. And so, yeah. Question?
¿Cuántas unidades tiene la charola?
How many spaces are around that train?
On this one, we call 72. And we're going to have all the way the flat, we have the germination chamber. And so we have to buy this one. Either you have this one strong, you still need this one. And even this is the I call open flat. First, we're going to do onion, okay? In March 9, we're going to do onion. It's going to be go to this one. And this one we call open flat. But we still need this one too, okay, to hold it. So when we carry it, and they're not mushy, and the soil is kind of split, that you see go deeper, or maybe they got air in it, not good, because we're going to put into the germination chamber. So that's why we have this one. Even this one, you still need this flat to protect the bottom. And this is 50, okay? We have different size. That's why this is we're gonna be potted. Be potting in this one. We need to have this one too. Okay? And if you buy one kind of 50 like this one I kinda don't like much. I don't know what happened, but if I do this one and my crop coming out, they're not happy with it. But this one, they're happy in there. And so if you, this one very cheap, but my recommendation is not really good idea to have it, but up to you. Yeah, but I not recommend you to keep that one. And this one is same open flat. And this is 128, okay? Sometimes I do onions. We do for the, I think 362 cell, but they were really little. But we need to transplant quickly, but you don't get happy onion, and we do in here. And this one is for like small, like I did not use this one much, and
Did you find
I don't
any,
recommend
did you
it.
find any plant that's happy with that?
This one, if you have lots of space in the greenhouse, then you use this one for green onion, because we have like 3 or 4 seeds in there, and they come in and we just pull and plant it and bundle on the field. And that's why I do that. But we have many farmers, and so we don't have much space in the greenhouse. And we use this one, even green onions or onion ball or leeks, we use this one. And we call open flat, and we can do put soil and make a line and just sprinkle seed in it. But we make line, and so whole about, we estimate about 300 plant in this one. And repotting.
Do you want me to show pictures?
Yeah, that's how we make the line with this one. Okay, we put fill soil and level out, and just make a line and sprinkle seed in it. And we're gonna repot it for the 50. 50 is this one, and we can repot into the 2 leaves that big. Usually Nebraska, I do 72. And we're going to be potting this one. Or you just seeding. And I need the picture with the, yeah, that one is earth. Earth, if you do for farmer market, or farmer market, I like to use this one. And you need to buy this one too. 1 box of this one and box of this one. Depends how many in there. You need to count how many to fit this one in there, and you buy it by box, and you put all the I call the cup And so fill out the soil and the stage, we repot, this stage really good. Right side to repotting and this one, okay? And the other brassica, that's how Molly did that one. We did at the farm. And this one is repotting in 250. You can see the 50 in what the farmer like is this one. Yeah, but they like this one and we just keep that one, and that is the right side to repotting. It's bigger and they have truly coming out. The bigger is not really healthy to repotting. That's why we need to watch out for the day you come repotting, because you late like 2 days is different. You repot earlier is different from you wait 2 days later. And 128, one other farmer, they like to repot their beet in there. And so that is beet and sweet chard too. But sweet chard we like to do in 72. But they do beet, they put in 128, okay? Or 98. Yeah. All kind, all size. Right, if you go buy it, then maybe that. This I show all of us. And this one we call, this one is really expensive, but some farmer they like it. I used to do this one, but now I stopped doing because, but I can use this one for onions. Really good and stir, and I don't have to buy the bottom one. And so I like it, but $6 per each. And this paper chain, you know why I stopped buying? Because my budget. This single one's $5, and to fit into this one. But we have the machine to pull this one out and fill in soil, and we do onion in here. And when you do the transplant, it's really easy. You just pull the machine and drop them in there. But yeah, I show if you're interested, just let Molly or Laura know it, and we can buy it for you guys.
I have a question. Do they allow us to use us organic certified for this year? Because I heard news about they don't allow pepper pot transplants for this year as certified. I just wonder if what was the answer for that?
They are going to allow it.
Yeah, they're going to review. So the issue is that you're not allowed to use paper in organic production. And so someone realized that paper chains are made out of paper, and so they were going to be like removed from the list of things you could use. But everyone got mad because you can plant really quickly with this machine. And so they agreed to like do a more thorough review of it to see if it actually causes any harm. So for until the review is complete, they are allowed.
So now we still be able to use it?
Yeah, you'll still be able to use it at least for this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I would use my green onions instead again.
Yes.
I really pay $10 for 2 trays, because when you transplant it easy, put through the paper pot transplant, and it's a whole way, and you save your time. You don't have to bend to the ground and stick 3 onions into one. So that's why I like it cut out cost at the beginning, but save your labor time. 10 minutes to kind of run that onion.
So that is just, it functions as a tray?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then you just put the whole thing on the ground?
Yeah, just put to the machine.
Yeah.
Go in the machine.
Do you have a picture of it?
Yeah, what's the
I
machine
can't-
called?
I can't visualize how that becomes.
It's called a paper pot transplanter.
Yeah, paper pot transplant.
Yeah,
And does the paper get planted?
It just comes as a chain and plant the whole thing in paper.
you pull the machine, the paper chain just keep pulling, and you just you go
Videos of
back.
it on YouTube.
Yeah, you go back.
And you have.
It's really nice. Went really fast, but I'm not doing it. That's how we do it. Yeah. Is that
That's a true.
That one.
Yeah.
Easy.
Sorry, I don't know what I did.
That's the machine.
Yeah. But yeah, that used
That
to
one, yeah.
be. Here, I can start closer.
Side? Make it big.
Yes, save a lot of time. It's like they call it a game changer machine.
So there's the flag, and then you just.
I really like that
Yeah,
one.
the flag is sitting, and you pull the paper chain and stick out. You pull in there, you pull. And it just.
So it comes out in a line with the plants,
Yeah, the paper
that
chain
like
stay
they
in
grown
the
up through the
soil.
paper?
So when you stretch out that thing, it becomes like a match with holes.
We have, I
So you
I
fill
should
it with
bring
soil.
the thing to show you that we put this stick in here, and we just pull, and you just push in there, and they stay there with the metal, and fill soil on top, and take it out. And so, then when you plant it, when you're ready to plant, you just use the machine. And so it's really good to the day that we are seeding is really good. You need to keep record that the day. Yeah, so we know that. And also when the certifier come in, a little bit easier. Yeah. And these things, you go buy in this company. Do you have on your table?
I only
don't
had
think
two.
I don't
So-
think we have much. Yeah.
Yeah, I only have two, so
Yeah.
you can pass them around,
Yeah,
but.
and, you can go dry over here and buy over there, but seed over. They have seed too, but we don't buy seed in here because we are organic. And so I just keep in mind that one farmer, he really happy. He come really happy day, and he said, "I'm gonna seeding today," and he see all the seed. I did not look. I busy, and I thought he doing it right. And so I look at this. The seed that is not organic. They are colored on it. I said, this one is not right. And they say, you say you buy from Jordan. I said, no, Johnny. And so he need to send him back, and he lost his soil, and he also lost the seed that he planted. And so if you want to buy seed over there, like Laura or I don't know, then but we not buy much. And you can buy the flat, you can buy like drip tape, right? Plastic mulch sometime, and the roll cover. When you plant it, we need to cover with preheater. And here it's really good to go and get your farm supply. Yep.
You also can buy the tags that you use to label your flats, because every flat gets a label. You can buy the tags there, which is helpful.
We're gonna show the tag later whenever we have. Is
Is that it?
yeah.
Okay. So, I just wanted to pull a plug too for these square 50s. Like, you have the option of the plastic one, of the circle ones, but they're not worth the money you save, because they're essentially the same. The issue is, like, when plants need to go in this size flat, they need more soil, and you can see that, like, the size of the cell. So this is what a cell is one of these. The size of the cell is way smaller on this one than on this one. So you like don't get the kind of like health you need on the circle flats. And there's like zero chance of being able to reuse it because they're so flimsy. And with this one you can at least get, if you're careful, you can definitely get 2 years out of it. So, yeah.
Basic question for those who, when you plant your stuff here,
Yeah.
how do you move it up?
Yeah, good question. You put it in your car, or you walk it out, or
Do you actually pull it out?
oh, okay. Yeah, so usually you like squeeze the bottom a little bit to loosen it, and then you can pull it out. They're usually strong enough at the point you're gonna. So what you do is you start them in the greenhouse, and then maybe a week or two before you're gonna plant them, you put them outside, like so that it's called hardening off.
so that because they're all like protected and like it's so gentle in the greenhouse and it's warm, and like if you take it out right away, there's like huge shock, and they like if you were to take it out and put it in the ground, it'd be this huge shock, and the plant would like might die, or it might wilt, or get sick, or become susceptible to other diseases. So you put it outside for like ideally like a week, so it can get used to being outside before you put it through the pain of pulling it out of the flat that it has lived in its entire life. So you're trying to just like pace the trauma to the plant.
So does it matter plant to plant how long one stays outside before actually being in?
Before being in the field? No. I mean, well, it's generally like a week is good. Yeah. Also, if something is like growing too fast in the greenhouse, if you put it outside, you can kind of slow its growth down because it's just harder to live out there. But it's, you know,
In that time, I know a lot farmers know that what we're gonna do.
yeah, they will be very
And that time,
I worked at one farm where we would like sometimes forget to harden things off too, and then we would be like, we're gonna harden them off on the drive out to the field. So just like make the really bumpy ride. So you know, it's an ideal thing is to get it hardened off. Yeah.
So did you say that the Jordan seed is a good place to buy the flats? Okay. And so that square would be the plug square versus Pro Tray round.
Yes. Yes. Plug square versus Pro Tray round. Buy the plug square.
over there, they have, they're working with diversity. And so they know there's some non lady, they go, they don't speak English, and they put the flag on the wall. And they go over there, they just say, I buy that one. And they just, how much you need, and they don't know, they just 5 and 0, and then they gave them 50. And they're really diversity, it's very friendly.
Do people? Yeah.
Question. Are we, by the fact that you told us where to order those, are we responsible for ordering our own flats and materials?
If you're in the if you are in the shared plot, you are not.
Okay.
But if you are not in the shared plot, you are. But now you know for when
Yes.
you have your own. And it would be great to like take a trip there together. Like, just I mean, I always get intimidated by new places, and so like it's nice to like go places with someone. Okay, we are going to work on the greenhouse plan now. So what we need in order to do that is your blank greenhouse plan. Yes. Your field planting plan that we worked on Monday. And then what is that long sheet called?
Greenhouse and Field Planting Guide.
Greenhouse and Field Planting Guide.
I also want to say we forgot to print one of the pages, and so if you didn't get the direct seed page to that guide, it is on that back table. So that goes with the other page for the transplant guide.
And I will say I don't have a copy of the Greenhouse and Field Planting Guide, so you all are going to have to help me out with the numbers. Please. Okay. So we're going to try to go like back and forth between these. Oh, this is too much. Okay. Does everyone have the papers they need? Oh, so do you have all the papers you need? You're good? Okay. We're going to start with something fairly simple. So we're going to start with the first broccoli planting. And so we're going to start by filling out all the information that we know. Can everyone see where I'm typing, or should I move it up?
I can see it.
Okay. Okay. So we have our first planting, which is broccoli 1. And we don't know the variety. Oh boy. We know
that it's 2 rows per bed? I mean, sorry, 1 bed? The first broccoli planting. So 1, 2 rows. And how many plants do we need? 225? 1. Okay. So look on your greenhouse and field planting guide, and it will tell you the size of tray that we recommend planting broccoli in. 72. Whoops. Okay. So then we're going to do some math. Whoops. So to figure out how many trays we need, we need 225 plants, and there's 72 per tray. So, I'm sorry?
A little bit over 3 trays now.
Okay.
3,
Uno? Okay, so 3.1 trays. So, you know you need 225 plants in the row. So if you don't have enough plants, you're not going to have a full row. So if you do 3 trays, you're not going to have enough plants. So how many trays?
I would say 3.5.
Okay.
Just guess around.
You do 3.5. How many would you do? You would do 4. Anybody else have a different idea?
What question?
Por ejemplo, en brócoli, si queremos poner 225 plantas,
So if we want to do 225 plants,
¿qué porcentaje de mortalidad ha tenido?
what's the mortality percentage it has suffered?
Right. It depends on the variety, on like the seed packets. So not every seed will grow. I would think that you get, hopefully you get like 90 of them, 90% of them. In this situation, I know that broccoli is not really that expensive, and I think the risk of doing 4, either way, if you plant 3.5 trays or 4 trays, you're using the same number of trays. You're taking up the same amount of space in the greenhouse. And so for these, I would be tempted to do 4 trays so that you're sure you have enough plants. And if you have some extra, it's really easy to give them to a friend or to compost them. Yes?
Do you ever use half of a tray for one crop and half of the rest of that tray for a second crop that needed half?
Yeah. Okay. Yes, you could definitely do that.
So, sorry, I missed the point of 3.5 to 4. We are
Yeah.
3.1. Why do we?
You want to grow extra. So we recommend growing
Just
15%.
to avoid the rate of loss, maybe do some. Okay.
Yeah,
You account
yeah.
for that loss. Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
It could be because sometimes germination rates, sometimes the ground and like the nature, so it's like extra.
When you get a seed packet, it will have a listing on it that says the germination rate,
Okay.
which is like how many seeds, what percentage of those seeds actually germinate. And I would say it's not uncommon for it to be between like 75 and 90. So it's a fairly significant chunk of seeds that don't actually germinate.
And also when you plant on the field, we sometimes just disappear, but sometimes we have we call cutworm, and you can lose a couple plants too. And so that's why you do extra. It's not hard to do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next thing, we're not going to worry about the variety yet because we haven't done the seed order. The next thing we're going to look at is the seeding date. So we know from our field plan that we want to plant it in the field on May 5th.
Fine, man.
And there is a column on your field planting plan that says how many days it stays in the greenhouse. How many days is it in the greenhouse? 30? So then in order to find the greenhouse seeding date, you would just count back 30 days. Yeah.
everybody see where that is?
Esta columna
This column here,
es la fecha que se
is this the
planta
date
en la parcela
was
o en
planted
la
in the
charola.
lot or in the tray?
So, the second one. So this is the first date that you can plant it outside.
Esta es la primera
So-
fecha donde puedes plantar afuera.
Afuera, ah, ok.
And you're on the
Ok.
transplant page. So, can I use this? Can I use this? So your greenhouse and field planting guide, this one is from Monday. And so this is just for the plants that you're transplanting. And so this is all we're gonna use today to make the greenhouse plan. The second page, it says direct seed on the top. And so that's putting seeds directly into the ground. So you don't need the second page to figure out your greenhouse plan. You just need the one that says transplant.
Yeah, yours looks just a little different. In what way? We have field planting date,
Oh, great.
so maybe that's,
Right here?
yep.
Okay. That is much better. So
So then we can put it right in the sheet.
okay.
And I think Excel can do math.
Usually 4 weeks in the greenhouse, then transplant. Then we're gonna do like April 5th or April 1st or maybe, April 5th, yes.
Is that a good one?
Yeah.
So let's do another one just to make sure we got it. And then we'll move on to something that might be a little more challenging. So let's just do the second broccoli planting. So we know the seeding date is 7/21. Broccoli, whoopsies.
Second.
So this, I mean, it's actually pretty, it's pretty easy. So what day would we want to seed it in the greenhouse?
On the 9th?
On the 9th of, so 30 days before,
Yes, antes de...
whoopsies, oh no. 30 days before
July 21st.
Oh.
20 de junio.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
June 20th.
Sí, 20 de
Junio, yeah.
Okay. So for crops
Entonces, para...
like broccoli,
Things are pretty easy to do.
so let's do these tomatillos. So the field planting date, 5/28.
5/28.
That's formatting.
Just about
Just a little too narrow. Oh, it's too narrow.
yeah.
Haha, thank you.
That is.
Okay, so one bed of tomatillos, 150 plants. Is that right? Yes, okay. So, what does it say on the field planting? Or on the greenhouse and field planting guide? What?
This is initial flat size open.
Yeah. So it says, at first we're gonna plant it into an open flat. Which honestly, we just do to save space. You can fit 300 plants in a flat this size, but only 50 in a flat this size. And so if we are 15 farmers sharing one greenhouse, and more importantly, we have this tool called a germination chamber, which really helps crops that like to be warm, like tomatillos, to germinate. We have to save as much space as possible. So we're gonna start this in an open flat. So the way we do this on the greenhouse plan is we need to leave 2 lines because you have to do 2 things in the greenhouse. First, you have to seed it into the open flat, and next you have to repot it like May was showing pictures of. So we're gonna have 2 lines for tomatillos. So we know we're first gonna be in an open flat, and then what size flat does it say to repot to? 50. So how much of an open flat would we need?
We one thing.
Yeah, May.
Yeah. Like broccoli, if we repot it, we need to like tomato, we're gonna leave a space, okay, 1 line, extra line, because when you repot it, it's gonna be different. Yeah. And we always keep extra line.
So how much of an open flat would we use for the tomatillos? If it fits, just half of one, yeah. So, whoops,
I didn't understand.
I'm sorry?
Perdón.
Otra vez.
Okay, so when we plant the seeds for the tomatillos, we're gonna plant them in here. Because we can fit more seeds, when the plants are really little, we can fit more plants in this flat than we can in that flat. So we'll fill this up with soil and we'll plant a bunch of lines of tomatillos. And then when they get to a certain size, we're gonna take them out of here and put them into this flat so that they have more room to grow. And we have to do that because we don't have enough space for because they need to stay warm when they're germinating. And so we need to put as few flats as possible with as many plants as possible into the chamber where they'll germinate. Does that make sense? Okay, so when we make our plan, we have 1 line for when we plant it in here, and then we have another line for when we move it from here to there. And for our records, we need to record both of those actions. And also for our planning to know how many flats we need to buy, we need to know both of those actions.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay, I think this time is circling around back to me. When you were the picture of the open flat and you're putting the lines in there, because you're putting in seeds of tomatillos
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah.
Okay. I just got that.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That's good.
This is the same thing. When you go to repot, how are you dividing? Are you just grabbing a chunk?
Single. Just single. It depends. Like tomatoes and like broccoli, we just tomato or pepper, we just do single plants per cell.
So when you pot it in the open tray, you just sprinkle the seed?
Yes.
Wow.
It's very turny and it is it's very turny and you can just go 1 at a time to repot for 1 per cell.
By that time, I will show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
How to tell you right now because we need to use your fingers underneath and just shade it. Just take it out, and put it. I have a stick for you guys to do too. Yeah.
I was just going to clarify that the space restriction is in the germination stage and not the... It's everywhere. It's especially in the germination stage.
Everybody need their crop to germinate, and so our germination is in limited space, and that's what we do in there.
Half of that.
Yeah, so it would be half of this. And my...
To fit that 150.
Yeah, and my guess is we'll use the other half of this for the jalapenos. But like in the picture that you saw of the thyme being transplanted, that was like, it depends on the plant, that was a clump of thyme because different plants need different space or like to be together, so. But for tomatoes and peppers, it's
Single.
single. So, are we all agreed on a half of an open flat?
There's no extra there, is there?
There's not, well, you could put more than 150 seats in, yeah. So then, this is a tricky situation. So, we've grown this, they're ready to transplant, we're gonna put them into 50 count flats. How many should we do in order to get 150? 3?
3.
May, what would you do?
It's 3.
You would do it just, yeah. So one thing about the transplanting is that you get to pick the live plants. Like, everything's already germinated, so you can, you can make sure you have exactly 150 plants because you're pulling them out and putting them in. You don't have to worry about like losing some to the seeds not germinating because you're already seeing what's growing. You just have to worry about taking care of it well once it's been transplanted, but you'll lose way fewer, like you'll hardly lose any when you transplant it. So going exactly on the number is okay. Okay, let's do those jalapenos. What about your seeding date? Oh my gosh, seeding date, thank you. So, what's our seeding date? How many days do these like in the greenhouse?
28.
They're like 28 days.
30.
We gonna do, they like 30 days?
It says 28.
It says 28, okay. Yeah, okay, so May 1st. Sure.
How soon after they germinate are you transplanting potting them? The tomatillos. So if you start
A week,
a week, okay.
probably.
So they're pretty small.
They're very small,
Okay.
yeah.
But tomato, when they coming out, they grow really fast.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when they germinate, they grow really fast.
How long are they in the chamber?
How a week, they hard to germinate.
The chamber is like, it's a dark structure that has high temperature and high humidity and a lot of shelves. Okay, so we're just gonna leave this date open because we're not really sure when that's gonna be. But the line is saving the space so that you know at some point when they're ready, you have to go to 3 50-count flats. And the gray section over on the right is for you to record like the actual date. So what about jalapenos? What do they start at? Open? Is there information on the hot peppers in there? Or is that the one that's blank?
That's what
Oh shoot! And I didn't fix it. They're the same as sweet peppers. What is it for sweet peppers? I'm sorry. Open. And what do they go to? Yeah. So, how much of a open flat should we use to start them? If you fit about 200.
The trays are for 200?
They're for 300. One, yeah, or like 2/3, a little less than one.
Una y medio.
1 1/2? 1 1/3?
You need, these hold 300, and we need 200.
Entonces, 3/4.
Okay, yeah.
3/4.
So like 3/4, that works. That'll give you a little room for some extra. And then how many 50s? When we transplant it up? 4. Yeah. Cool. And then what about your seeding date? 30 days?
The 30, well,
people feeling about greenhouse plan making? Feeling good? Let's do these green onions. Oopsies. I forgot to leave it open space. So we have 1/3 of a bed, and that is not a date. While I'm formatting these cells, will someone come up with a
Let's see. Yes. No. And it's green onion is direct seed.
It is both. So you'll find it on the transplant, yeah. What size flat does it say to start them in? It says for green onions.
See, oh, no, the green onions is about 28.
Okay.
70.
Initial flat size.
Yes.
Yeah.
128. Yeah. So what's that? This one is for. No, you're fine. It's 128. It should be on your greenhouse or that on that plan.
Is it by onion or by green?
Onion, comma green.
That's
Yeah.
It's a green onion.
Yeah. Not just onion. Yeah. So how many flats would you plant?
2.5.
Yeah. So if you did 2.5, you'd get about 300. Right on. What about accounting for extra? Yeah, I would do 3. I think when it comes to, when I think about planning for extra, I think about at this point, like everything gets more expensive as the season goes on. So or like as the plants get bigger. Like if you don't have enough plants, it means you're not going to be able to fill in your field, which means you're going to spend more time weeding. And it also means that you're not going to be able to sell everything that you wanted to sell. And so that the cost to you of planting in a little bit more to make sure that you have enough is relatively low.
I'm gonna go for 3.
You're going to do 4. Why are you going to do 4?
Because the onion is, you leave it there, you not put on the ground, they can stay later too. Yeah, and when you transplant, they come out the same. And also you have extra. You got 3.5, about half, then you just go ahead and plant 4. Only looking extra.
So this would give them like more than 100 extra plants.
Oh. You only need 300.
It's 2.5.
Only need 300, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then just 3.
Then just
Yeah.
3.
Not
Okay.
4. Yeah, not 4.
So how do you factor in the second planting?
That will be another line on the.
Okay.
Yeah, so
You
we'll.
would start the second planting
At a-
that much later.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
15% extra, are we accounting for that anywhere on the sheet, or are we just?
when we have been doing when we've been like
Numbers.
adding the number of, like rounding up the number of flats, that's been like accounting for the 15%.
Okay.
And on the like tomatillos and the jalapenos, we haven't been accounting for the 15% because the success rate is so great when you transplant them to another flat.
But did you already, when you made your field planting plan and you came up with the number of plants that you need, was the 15%
Did we?
added?
We probably added
We
some.
did add that.
Okay.
I don't think we did actually. I actually don't think we did. Sometimes it was like for the crops that there were contracts for, we did do that. We added the 15%, or like we added more than 15%.
Pero sí deberíamos haber tomado ese 15 porque cuando trasplantamos,
We should have accounted for that 15% because when we repotted,
se muere, pero hay mortalidad.
some die. There's some mortality.
When we transplant
While the transplant.
from this to there,
Yes,
it's actually really little.
okay,
Yeah, in general they do really, really well. It might be like 1. Yeah.
Will we build in extra when we actually order the seeds?
Yeah. Well, we'll have enough to for sure plant everything that we need in the greenhouse. And if that means ordering up, we will. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So let's do the planting date with green onions. How many days are they in the greenhouse? 50? Okay, I'm just gonna use the Excel thing to do that. So 50 days before March 19th. That's the first thing you're gonna do. Okay, actually probably the leeks are the first thing you're gonna do. We are gonna wrap up. Does anyone want to do another one before finishing this plan on your own? Okay. Okay, so also for Wednesday, next Wednesday, will you finish the greenhouse plan? And we'll have a couple people, like present the like crops that they came up with. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Break?
Yes. So just to like round this back to like the supply, or like the supplies that you need, the flats, what we'll do is when we have the greenhouse plan, we'll then like add up how many flats of each kind, and that will be the list we go with to Jordan's to purchase our flats. Cool.
What's that bottom one called? The stabilizing.
A web
It's called a webbed flat.
Yeah, well.
And they're really important because, like May was saying, the flats are really flimsy, especially when they're full of soil and wet.
And also we go into the germination chamber. We're gonna pull back and forth, and we're gonna pump like this.
And the soil and the seed jumps out.
Yeah, it's
And then you
everything
lose your
jumping,
work.
and you see you're gonna jump one for another. So here you just do smooth.
Okay, let's take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna come back.
5 minutes.
What?
Like a 4 minutes.
As fast a break as you can. And when we come back, we're gonna do kind of like a review of the class that we canceled, the crop families class.
Vamos a contar el 5 de mayo.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good to see you.
Me too.
Sorry. We have a question for you. Yes. Great. So, share plan, if we change our salary to half to levels, I think we might have a third left.
You're in trouble there. Yeah.
And is that good? Like, do we have extra plants that can just go in there, or should we change our number of plants needed?
Oh, yeah.
Using half and half.
Yeah. Oh. That would be a good idea.
Just thinking that we might have to redo our numbers.
Yeah.
Plants needed.
So you would just recalculate the cilantro and green onions?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that what you want to do?
I think that makes the most sense.
Okay. Do it.
Do you think that that's reasonable for what we can sell at farmers markets?
Well, not a lot.
Like, maybe we won't be able to sell that much?
I think we'll be able to sell the green onions through some combination of outlets.
Okay.
And the cilantro might be a little harder.
We'll just have to make it
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, when tomato come in, and cilantro sell good.
Yeah.
Any other
So this,
Yeah.
so this is based
So
on
what they could
plants
do is
that
push
we
that
did. Is that on a different
cilantro
sheet?
to the second cilantro planting.
So that's
later.
Sure.
Like you could choose to do it 3 weeks.
Oh, like
after
so
planting. And then you
Okay,
would
so I
or
don't-
time it better and then they calculated like
Oh,
take this and
okay.
did you get that last? You weren't there that day.
No, I was, but I got this stuff online.
Okay.
Like, on the presentation, so
Yeah.
basically that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, yeah, I started looking at that, so that was.
the number of plants.
Okay.
Just depending on what you're. Okay. And then we're going to get up on the side. Okay. This is very cheap. So, yeah. The answer is okay. So this is that. Back down to 10 or 2. Yeah. Okay, that's a helpful track. Like what are we going on to get to?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so the field company that is needed for that and crop are all moving up.
Okay.
And you're just transferring them over here for your green plant, and then you might put it over there, trace that as number space, and then
I mean, I've kind of worked on the same time, like this as far as what I'm planning on it. Yeah. So I'll just kind of keep plugging away. Yeah, this year, but like you say, maybe like next week, I'll try to get that. I go, maybe a comma.
Yeah, so, no,
Okay.
that's definitely what we want to do.
I'm working on it, I'm working on it.
I think una semana a este cilantro que está lista.
Good.
So maybe the seed then, and then maybe see where we're at for time.
Entonces, ¿qué piensas de estos?
Because the seedling is fun.
Yeah. So, Molly, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
So I have fallen in love with soil walkers.
Yeah.
When you talk about the, like the open flats and then kind of transplanting up, did you recommend that I start with like the smallest soil walker? And then, yeah, it's pretty tiny. What I did last year is I started with the one, it was, I think it was an inch. And I started with that initially because in those little flat trays, I mean, I can get, oh, I don't remember how much, I think I got like 100 in that. But it's the 1 inch, yeah.
Did you need more space to do that?
Well, if I go with the smallest one, is that I'm gonna have to do the 1 inch ones anyways, because I'm gonna have to plant color those up. And I'm just thinking like, that's kind of like twisting a lot less.
Yeah.
The soil blockers are, I like them because I think it makes it easier for planting, like it's quicker planting, but it's tedious, like seed starting.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would say if you have the space to start everything in like a larger one.
Yeah. Okay. I got creative with this things.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, let's do.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
What did I hear email? Yes. Okay.
So I'm looking for, like soaker houses that are low flow.
Okay.
And I have found some. They only come in 50-foot lengths.
How much do you need?
Well, That's what my husband came home with. So I don't have water. Our driveway's a third of an acre, or a third of a mile. And then, we have, the driveway's a third of a mile long, and then we have 2 acres and 2 acres. So it's really long. And I don't have water up there. So out of complete desperation last year, because of how weird the weather was, he had something at work and it was free. And it was 1 50 gallon barrel. 1 50 gallon barrel.
Okay.
And it's up on a trailer, so that I can use my 4-wheeler and I can easily transport it around the And the land that I'm planting on does slope. It's not steep, but it's like a little bit slope to it. Yeah.
My concern is just that that's not enough much water for Hadley, as you know.
Yeah.
Like you could have made it like a little bit of.
Well, yes, is that it's, so yes. I mean, it's not like a ideal situation.
Yeah, I feel like the amount of like how clear your road.
Well, I have an app on my phone. Well, because I was gonna plan this, I'm doing 50-foot beds.
Okay.
So 50-foot beds, and I can do, kids in 9 or 10 of those. They said they will have fast So I have to look at it.
Okay, so I mean, I just don't think that you're gonna get the water to reach. I would imagine that the water will only reach like 15 feet out that way. Because what happens is you disperse it over such a long area that there's no pressure. Okay. So nothing's going on. So even if you went on 50 feet, yeah, if you tried to make 50 feet, I don't think that you would really get any water.
Well, so I had a hose hooked onto it last year, and I did get out of, I don't know if it was
A soaker hose or just like
a regular hose.
Yeah.
A regular hose, and with that again took like forever to water.
Well, because you didn't have anything on the end, right? So the water was still freely out.
The water, as long as I opened up the spout, the water just freely flowed out, and then I would have to go like row to row and just water it.
So, okay, but what you're dealing with in this situation is a hose and a cap line, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there's nothing coming out the end. So what you rely on to get water out of the holes that are in the drip tape is the pressure of the system. And when you have water, if you've got 50 gallons of water, you've got like, and I just don't have to do this, but like, so how whatever your PSI is in this hose. And like, as the water lowers, the pressure lowers.
It's going slower and slower and slower and slower.
And it's not actually an issue if the water's coming out, it's not an issue how long it takes if you're going to leave it overnight. You would just turn it on and leave it overnight and walk away. But if it doesn't have enough pressure in the system to even get the water out of the hole in the hose, then it's not going to work. And like pressure equalizes over the system. So like whatever the pressure is right next to the spigot is what it's going to be at the end. So like sure.
Okay. To be continued.
Yes. Okay. Can we have you go into 2 tables, please? I know we have too many activities. Well, does that make sense?
Yeah, the other have
3? Okay, you can stay where you are. Okay. Except for Jacob. Jacob, you need to move to a different table that already has people.
Jacob can join that one.
Yeah, you can join that one. So, we missed our class on crop families because of the, whatever it was. It was either cold or snow. I don't remember. So, how many people were able to watch some of that video or like read some of the handout? Okay, cool. So what we want to do is talk briefly about different plant families, and why it's helpful to know the different families. And also how you can tell plants are in the same family. So what we did is we have like 20 or something different kinds of seeds on the table, and using nothing but looking at the seeds. We want you as a table to work to group them into their families. So put all the cups that you think are in the same family together. And you also can use the names of them if you want.
Into crop families.
Into crop families, yes.
Organize the crop. Is the family?
You guys know this at all?
We're not supposed to.
Right, just look at the seeds and the names.
Seeds and names or just seeds?
These are names are
Yeah.
pepper and eggplant.
You could join my if you wanted to. Or you also
Okra is a fruit. You're cooking with it. Okra is I show you okra.
The tomato is on there too, and maybe that. And they're all kind of like a layer. We always do this balance and squash. So we say they're the same.
not the parsnips.
Oh, okay. Carrot.
Hey, after this activity, can you talk about why it was so
Okay. They want to know okra.
okra? Oh, I looked that up.
How does it look like? Okra. Okra.
Oh, paper.
No.
Oh, pero solamente, ok, plants,
No, actually, Swiss chard. Oh, yes, Swiss chard beets. I don't know. Beets are actually several seeds.
Are you cheating?
No.
parsnip.
Karen,
I don't, it's all the like, it's all like the leftover free seeds. Old stuff. So not everything is here. Okay, let's take one more minute to have your best guess. Doesn't need to be right.
Are those extra ladders? Those come with you guys? They did not come. They were allowed. Do you think that they're open? I don't know. Laura's my moral compass on this. Okay, so what the situation is.
The class, the beginning class.
How's the lime one? I'll do great.
Another page, three big more.
So. Who wants to share what they came up with? Okay. Let's do the group in the back. Will you tell me the groupings you came up with?
Yeah, well, we've got our grouping, I don't know.
Please don't tell me the family names, just tell me the
So
crops.
we've got tomatoes, and we've got eggplant, and we have peppers, and we have tomatillos.
Okay.
Okay, and then we have lettuce all by itself,
Okay.
and watermelon, winter squash, pumpkin, cucumber, and zucchini.
Okay.
And then we have another group of parsnips, carrots, cilantro. And by themselves, we have arugula, okra by itself, beans by itself, and dill by itself. And then we have broccoli, kale, cabbage, radish. Oh, those are all together. Sorry, the broccoli, the dill,
The broccoli and the dill?
the broccoli and the dill and the cabbage and the radish. Those are all one group together.
Okay.
And then the last grouping that we have is Swiss chard, spinach, and beans.
Okay. How did you decide? What did you use?
Some of them look really similar.
Yeah.
Just slightly different coloring or slightly different size.
To use the looks of it, what else did you use?
We'll compare the vegetables at harvest though too, is that like with squash and zucchini, not zucchini, but squash and pumpkins and stuff are the same.
In what way?
As far as like, well, I guess kind of color and kind of the way, like the seeds on the inside.
Okay, so you use the seeds.
Yeah.
You use what they're like when you harvest them, like what they look like.
Well, yeah, kind of, you know, like a melony shape.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay. Can this group go?
Tenemos grupo de arúgula, espinas, leres. En grupo, en otro grupo tenemos cabbage, brócoli. En otro grupo tenemos radish, beets and carrots. En otro grupo tenemos cilantro, prendido.
What was the second one?
No.
Deal? Okay.
¿Qué opciones?
For kids, the city, Chiquini, and the town is based in the diamond.
Watermelon? And pumpkin.
What was the last one? Pumpkin.
En otro tenemos solo beans. En otro tenemos martillo, peppers y un pan.
Okay.
Tomato y eggplant.
Is
Tomato.
No, juntos.
Together.
oh. I think we're just gonna do 2 groups.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure you did a great job. And it was
around a bunch of times.
rich and rewarding activity for you.
Okay,
So,
all right.
it's cool to see. How did your group decide?
En base a algunas por las plantas.
And some based on the plants.
Okay.
Por las frutas.
Because of the fruit.
Okay, like what about their fruit?
Que son similares a poner plants.
That are similar like tomato and eggplant.
Okay. How do you know they're similar?
Porque los dos significan. They both
They look the same, they come the same.
Okay. So they grow kind of the same on the plant?
Sí.
Okay, okay, yeah, so because the fruit grows in the same way. Why did you put this group together, the arugula, spinach, and lettuce?
También
Because they're all leaves that grow above ground? Yeah. And what about these ones?
Roots?
Because they're all roots. Okay, so like where they grow to? Okay, so you based yours largely off of how the plants grow.
Primero la forma de semillas,
First-
tamaño de semillas
First the size of the seed,
Okay,
y ya posteriormente el crecimiento de la planta.
and later on the plant's form,
Forma de hoja,
okay,
the form of
tipo de frutos.
the form of the leaf and type of fruit.
okay. Okay. Cool. So you've managed to explain a lot of the ways that we can tell plants are in the same family.
What do you
Neither of
think?
these groups are right, but like, I mean, you're right about some things. But like, we're not gonna go start about right now because there's like ways to figure that out. But like, these 3 plants, while they grow in the same way, are actually in 3 different families. And the same with these ones. But it's like, it's an important way to think about plants. Like, they all grow underground. They're really similar, but like, you can't necessarily tell just from looking at it. So, from thinking about it. So I think it's really interesting to think about how plants can be in the same families. So now, May's gonna talk about why.
Why do you think it is important to know about a plant family? And we are family too, right? You have your own family. I have my own family. And do you compare to the people family to the crop family? Why it's important to know the family of the crop? Example, like my family have same last name, and we look almost the same. And but crop, why important to know?
They're susceptible to the same diseases.
You got one.
Yeah,
What
that's
else?
a lot like humans too.
What else for the crop?
What needs they have? they need cooler temperature or warmer temperature, how much water, the type of soil. I would imagine those are similar, but I'm guessing.
Except insects to maybe the kind of insects that
Insects. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Maybe you say let's hang out.
Okay.
And then crop rotation.
Anything else?
I would say fertility needs different fertility or fertilizers.
Soil.
Some are heavy feeding, some are lighter feeding. So.
Maybe timing or days to maturity or
Ma-
days.
Yep.
Manejo cultural, manejo de cultura.
It's crop management.
Yep. Please. Anything else?
What about like how you would start them for seeds, whether they're direct seed or transplant?
Yeah. We can put that under like,
Which ones do best? The type of seed starting?
yeah. That's a really good list.
I think it's kind of, but you want to explain for that one? Or, yeah, look like we have, we don't have that. Yeah, we have one crop rotation, we have that. And, yeah, we don't have, we need some to prove that it's crop family. And so, like how they grow and spacing, and yeah, you have crop rotation. Yeah, I think it's good. You get there.
Yeah.
You got the dizzy one. It's good. I think that's it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Great. Then what we thought we would do is spend the last 10 minutes real fast going through, maybe we'll go through a couple of crop families, and May and I can talk about like different growing tips for each crop family. Does everyone have the,
Do you have
yes,
your
the
sheet?
handout that
Okay.
has, I'm gonna find mine really quickly.
Yeah, you can use mine too.
I need notes on mine even, May. Oh, here it is. Haha.
What do you have now?
Okay. Is this me? Yes. Molly's brassicas. You're keeping yours.
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone have it? Okay, so the first one is the brassica family, which is, oh, I'm gonna pull this sheet back up because it'll be fun to look at.
Yep.
We didn't have all the seeds. So the brassica family, which is the arugula, cabbage, broccoli, radish, and that's it that we had seeds for. But it also includes things like cauliflower, with which you're going to become intimately acquainted with, and turnips, a lot of like Asian greens that are like spicy greens. What else? Kale is another big one. Wait, did I not do kale?
It's up there.
Oh, it is. Great. So, a couple things about brassicas that are really helpful to know is that when you plant them in the spring, they're like very susceptible to this pest called a flea beetle, which is like, I mean, it's like a flea, and it lands on the leaf and it bites a little hole and it drinks the water out of the leaf, which leaves you with like these dry spots that then turn into holes, which is a problem. And they have there's 3 hatches of them every year in Minnesota. And
what's a hatch?
a hatch, like they grow out of eggs 3 times. Like there's 3 groups of them that come. So you'll have them and then they'll go away, and then you'll have them and then they'll go away, and you'll have them again. And so when you plant something like arugula, where what you're harvesting is the leaf, and that's what you're gonna sell, or the radishes where you're gonna harvest them with leaves, you really, really need to cover them with row cover the day you plant them. If you say, I'm gonna plant them today and cover them tomorrow, you're not gonna do that. Cover them the day you plant them. Otherwise you'll like lose it all. So they're a big pest. Brassica families grow really well in cool seasons. So it's like hard to grow broccoli in the middle of the summer. Or like radishes get really bitter in the summer. They can withstand like a frost. So they can go in early, that's why they can go in early May. Another thing is that they have shallow roots, and so they need more water than other crops tend to. Or like more frequent water. You wanna do cucurbits?
Yes. Another family crop is a cucurbit, and so it is cucumber, summer squash, winter squash, pumpkin, zucchini, melons, gourds. These are vine. They take lots of space. They have really big leaves, and they can run like take more space. And they have bugs. We call squash bugs. And if some year we have it, then they're gonna eat the flowers, and they're gonna eat the whole plant when they baby. It's really hard to protect those cucumber beetle, and so they have some spray for like to protect, but we usually don't do that. And they call clay. Put on the leaf, they kind of white, and we transplant it on the field to protect beetle. Those taste yucky and they don't like to, but look like we don't do much. Some they can do roll cover, but we don't do that. And I just use roll cover. Roll cover is you cover with the roll.
It's like a thin piece of fabric that some air and light can get through.
Yeah,
and you put it over all of the plants.
And certain time you can take it out. Yeah, and also the cucumber, they fruit only. You don't not pick the leaf. They have fruit. You harvest certain size, certain time, or like butternut and buttercup. You only harvest when they die, they mature enough. That's how the crop family is. And yeah, I think most they love heat. They like a hot climate, and they don't like cold soil. And we need to transplant kind of June and May, the end of May and June. It's good to starting seeding or transplant in that time. They don't like cold. They're good for plastic mulch, but nobody do it, right? Last year, shea plant did. I did some, and 2 couple they do that too. They got yellow, good. Yeah, I think that's it.
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah, add this one.
When the cucurbitic family,
So if this is the cell and this is your cucumber, obviously, they have, their root system is like one giant root and then like a couple little ones. Whereas like the tomato is like that. So if a tomato, if you break some of the roots, you're fine. And if you break this main root in the cucurbit family, you are toast. You're just like, the plant dies. So you have to be incredibly careful when you transplant them because they really don't like to have their roots touched. Be very, very careful when you transplant cucurbits. Sorry, Laura. It's okay. Oh, okay. Next one. The next one is the nightshade family, which contains, I think you all got this one. Yeah.
From a tail.
Yeah. So this group had it right over here. Okra wouldn't be part of it, but these four are in the same family. So nightshades or Solanaceae, I think, they like warm weather. So you want to plant them after it might frost, so they'll die if it freezes. Except potatoes, and you plant those right away in the spring. And what else? They really don't like to get wet. There's a lot of disease transfer if they get wet. And then, like, especially if you touch them, we've had a lot of disease problems in the last few years with blight on the farm. They need a lot of airflow, which also has to do with keeping them dry. And so, like, wide spacing between your rows or between your beds of plants. Last year when I grew my tomatoes, I did a bed of tomatoes and then a blank bed and then another bed of tomatoes, just to try to have as much air as possible. And then you also want to keep the weeds down to help with the airflow. And if you plant on plastic mulch, it's really helpful because it helps prevent the leaves from getting as wet. So when it rains, it doesn't splash into the dirt and then have the dirt splash up and keep the leaves really wet. That's stuff that's in addition to what is on the sheet. And you only plant them once, which is nice because you can harvest them for a long time.
Okay, it's I have Lanyun. Lanyun is a type of crop. They can grow tall. Some are bush, some are trellis. And so we like beans, soybean, peas, peanuts, clover, and vest. Those have Lanyun, and the root is I don't know how to grow.
Oh, yeah.
And when you grow it, and they have I try it.
Okay.
Yeah. If not, then if they have you plant it, the plant. See, I don't know how to do. This is vest, and there's the root. They have many roots, and they have little bulb. They have bulb over here, all over the root. Bean also, peanut, peanut have big one, right? Like a vest, they have those. Bean have that. Soybean have that. And this is benefit for the soil too. And also they like multiple plants. Some they grow many by one seed, and some you can pass. Not much pass, but bean you plant bean you need more like not to plant not together close together. because they need airflow. If you plant too tight together, the bean coming out through and it's rotten on the bottom. Yeah, they need airflow. Bean sometimes disease is blight, sometimes you hit blight too, and you get the rust bean. You don't get good bean that time if you hit the blight. Soil, they like warm soil, not they don't like cold. Vest and clover, they can stay through the winter and for cover crop.
You said they don't like that.
Vetch. Is I don't know how to describe. It's kind of little leaf, and the flower kind of blue, right? Blue or purple.
Yeah, they're purple.
Kind of.
Did you say
purple.
that they didn't, what'd you say that they don't like? To be wet?
No, they don't. They stay in the winter. They reseed it. Yeah, they reseed it. Yeah.
As a cover crop, they
Yeah,
can stay
cover
all
crop.
through the winter.
No, I don't
Clover
think.
and vetch can stay all through the winter.
Yes. I don't think vest is through the winter.
It'll come back in the spring.
I'm not sure about that.
I've never done it.
Yeah. I did not pay attention. I just tear it on the ground. Yeah. Okay.
It is 8 o'clock. Should we continue with this next Wednesday or power through?
How do people feel? Do you want to keep going or do you want to?
I have to get.
Gotta go.
I got kiddos that are going to bed.
Okay.
So, but
Yeah.
I did watch the video though too, so.
Okay.
Great.
So maybe finish up next week?
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll finish up next week.
Cool.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, May and Molly. Yeah, so don't forget to finish your plot map and your greenhouse plan. So we'll start class with that next week.
Greenhouse plan is kind of